Hey one hail, welcome to Monday. Welcome to Countdown Day here on the channel once again. And this one was a fan suggested one. Recently we did the top 10 wreckers, and then we did the top 10 members of the Mayhem Attack Squad. And some people said, well, isn't that just the DJD, the Decepticon Justice Division? My understanding is no. The Mayhem Attack Squad is like a more military force meant to combat the Autobots and meant to do the most destruction, the most damage, the most dastardly of deeds against the Autobots. Whereas the DJD, my understanding is to keep order within the Decepticons. You know, anything that's dissension, anything that could be betrayal, anything that could go against the will of Megatron. So think of them as like a secret police, if you will, for the Decepticons. And of course, the Decepticons being the Decepticons, that means that your, I guess, punishment, if you're caught by the DJD, is probably going to be some sort of maniacal torture. After all, most of them turn into torture devices. The top 10 bots, though, that could be part of the DJD, but have never been part of the DJD, is something that really stuck in my mind as an interesting topic. So, based on fan votes, what are we going to do today? We're going to do the top 10 Transformers that could be, but have never been, members of the Decepticon Justice Division. That's our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one hail, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby! Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton and lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all of the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this will be the top 10 Transformers that could be part of the DJD, but have never been. Really, the votes kind of center on two main themes. Whether or not a character is super loyal to Megatron, that would make them fit in, or whether or not a character is prone to enjoying torture, also would fit in, or in some cases, they're both loyal to Megatron and prone to enjoying torture. We do have 4 honorable mentions. They include Six-Shot, who I think would be a great combatant. He's somebody that could elicit a lot of fear and therefore compliance. Snaptrap, of course, I guess you could say the entire, King Poseidon. Was it Snaptrap? Snaptrap's Turtler, right? I guess you could say the entire combiner there, but Snaptrap is known to be fairly brutal. Blitzwing because of his ability to be violent and blitz. And I like this one, Beast War Scorponok, just because the guy doesn't really care. And he hungers enough for, I guess, power that he really tries to prove his worth a lot of times. But they're the honorable mentions. Six-Shot, Snaptrap, Blitzwing, and Beast War Scorponok. None of them made the list. Who did? What did? You know what we're going to do? We're going to kick things off, as we always do, with number 10, my friends. First. Coming in at number 10 is an interesting one because it's R.I.D. Scourge, which surprised me a little bit. Those that voted for him mostly said, look, he's pretty vicious in his own right. You take everything good about Optimus Prime and switch it, flick it over, because he's everything opposite, right? He's everything nasty, he's everything mean, he's everything evil, he's everything destructive. He is the ultimate Decepticon and is probably really good, or could be probably really good, at picking out dissenters. Those that don't live up to this excellent Decepticon's expectations, or example, if you will. They looked at this guy more as, if you're not in line, and if you're not the sort of Decepticon that Scourge is, well, maybe you need to fall in line. Maybe you need a little bit of punishment, courtesy of the DJD. Scourge, fitting in with that group? Absolutely agree, and he takes the number 10 slot. I think 9 might be the most surprising on the list because it's Starscream. Since the DJD would be known to hunt down dissidents and traitors, you wouldn't really think Starscream would be there. However, He is the Air Commander, and more than that, as explained most eloquently by, I believe it was Grandma, the Collector 75, if I'm not mistaken, who better to find Decepticon traitors than this guy? After all, he both hungers to lead the Decepticons and is the ultimate betrayer in and of himself. Takes one to know one, if you will. Maybe it's exactly what the DJD needs. Starscream takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8, we have a guy who is here both because of his ultimate loyalty to Megatron as well as his ability to be brutal when needed. Lugnut. This, of course, is the Generations version. Honestly, it's the animated Lugnut that really got the votes, which this guy is still supposed to be indicative thereof. And yeah, I mean, if you've ever watched anime, you know how loyal Lugnut is to Megatron. You know he's the bruiser over Megatron's shoulder, and you know he will do anything for the Decepticon cause. Exactly what the DJD stands for. Lugnut takes the number 8 slot. Number 7 is a guy who adores torture and kind of doing some experimentation. It's Tarantella from Beast Wars. Would he actually fit in with the DJD? Absolutely. Again, treacherous, traitorous, brilliant, and brutal. All things that describe Tarantella, and all things that could be beneficial to the machinations of the DJD as they hunt down and deliver their own unique brand of justice. Yeah, Tarantella takes the number 7 slot. Coming in at number 6, when you see this, will almost feel like it was a foregone conclusion that he had to be on this list because it's Barricade. No, not the original Micromaster body of Barricade, but what has become his popularized body by way of a police car. How could you not take the one cop that is a part of the Decepticons and not put him on the Decepticon Justice Division? It seems like as a Decepticon officer who likes to punish and enslave, how can you not put Barricade on the DJD? Gotta happen. According to fans, gotta happen enough that Barricade in this body type takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever coveted, ever popular halfway mark. And today at the halfway mark, we have another one that's a little bit of a surprise, but let me explain. Lockdown included on the list. So Lockdown's inclusion was definitely unique since he's not actually a Decepticon, he's his own guy. But a lot of voters said, look, if you pay the guy the right price, he will be an excellent hunter to track down dissidents, to track down those that they want to punish, that they want to possibly enslave, that they want to torture. Lockdown could be a great kind of rogue detective, so to speak, you know? If handled with the right respect and the right way. I understand where the logic comes from of including this guy. I think he's an interesting addition. Lockdown, the ultimate hunter who elicits fear in those he's after. What more could the DJD ask for at the number 5 slot? Number 4 made the list because he's cruel, very cruel. It's Overlord. Whether we're talking G1, Titan's Return, or the maniacal version of him from IDW where like he roots out his own eye and stuff, like how could you go against Overlord? His arrogance, his pompous nature, but being a walking battalion in and of himself? How can you not have fear when he storms onto the battlefield? If he's hunting you down, you will fall in line super fast or suffer the consequences, the brutal consequences. Overlord, he takes the number 4 slot. Number 3 also made the list because he enjoys some brutal torture. It's Bludgeon. Of course, Bludgeon, one of the leaders at one point of the Mayhem Attack Squad. And a lot of people said, honestly, and I do agree with this, a lot of members of the Mayhem Attack Squad could be on the list. They absolutely could. But of course, since the voting rule is one person, one vote, which most people respect, and this time around, I did have one gentleman who didn't, but he and I talked, and it was really cordial, honestly, and, you know, it was nothing malicious. I had another one who was like, well, I'm going to do what I want. Well, you know what? If you're going to be, you know, a douchebag, I'm going to call you that. It's as simple as that. So, you know, it's all about respect, right? And Bludgeon is included, and I agree with the voters. I really do. I see where they're coming from. Probably one of the most recognizable members of the Mayhem Attack Squad, and probably the one because of how much he delights in the pain and agony of others. Perhaps the one member who would super duper fit in with the DJD. Yeah, I get it. Imagine this guy rumbling right alongside Tarn and the rest of the lads. Bludgeon takes the number 3 slot. Now coming in at number 2 is one that always elicits some fear, and he's not on the list because of his, I guess, delight in torture. He's really on here because of 2 things. One is his loyalty to Megatron, but there's another reason to include Soundwave. Soundwave, I mean, we've heard it before. It's been said multiple times in multiple fiction. He has eyes and ears everywhere. You want to know who to hunt down? You want to know who the dissidents are? You want to know who's not loyal to your cause? Look no further than Soundwave. He'll tell you who's not loyal and who is 100%. Why? Because he is 100% loyal. A great source of information for the DJD. Soundwave takes the number 2 slot. And now here we are, very tippy top number 1. And number 1, I mean, I get it. He won, not by a huge margin, but enough that when the votes started rolling in, I said, you know what? I get it, I see it. And I understood it for Soundwave. Number 1, however, is Shockwave. If you go back to G1, I mean, we know that Shockwave was so loyal to Megatron and the Decepticon cause that Megatron leaves him in charge of Cybertron. We have seen his character grow and develop into cold and logical. Indeed he is, which is exactly something that the DJD would need. Your loyalty has to be to the Decepticon cause, not to anyone or anything else. He also delights in the pain and agony of others, going so far as to torture them with his own science experiments. What more could a DJD enforced form of justice want to be? If you're going to be subjected to Shockwave, you're going to pay a hefty price. Do you really want to break the Decepticon law that will put you at his hand? I wouldn't. And for that reason, Shockwave takes the number 1 slot. And there you go, we've gone from 10 down to 1 once again. Other ones that had votes, some really interesting ones here. G1 Cliff Jumper, Slipstream, Cliff by the way because of his aggression. Beast Wars Megatron, that's an interesting one. Repugnus Bonsai-tron because he like tortures dudes with like acupuncture or something. Blackout Bombshell, Bombshell could control a lot of the dissenters. Howlback, I thought that was a cool one. Straxus, though, it was noted that his ego might get in the way. G-Axis, ego might get in the way. Vortex, Beast Wars Rampage, he would definitely fit in. Revenge of the Fallen Optimus, after all, he does tear off the Fallen's face. Nightbird, Night Racer, don't know that character. Crankcase, Beast Wars Inferno, he would definitely delight in it. Toxitron, because imagine the toxic chemicals he could use. Agent Ravage, the Beast Wars Ravage, right? Berserker from the last night, Tidal Wave, Shadow Striker, Cyclonus, Deadlock, Grimlock, Blackout, Smolder, Slog, Dreadwing, G1 Skyquake, Mindwipe, Apeface, Turmoil, don't really know that character, Flame War, Punch, Counterpunch, that'd be an interesting one. Surtur, I don't know Surtur, and IDW Ultra Magnus, them and so many more. Did your favorites make the list or not? I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here, inside the videos.